Hey, you guys, what's up? This is your boy Ty, and welcome to Myii Podcast. This is something new that I just started. This is going to be the first episode, but how I'm going to do it is we're not going to really label it by episodes. We're just going to jump right into it and bring you guys some content. So, hope you like that. Today's topic is actually going to be talking about passion. So, what is your passion? What are some things that you guys are passionate about? Some things that, make it easier to wake up in the morning and go off to work and come home knowing that you have something that gets you excited, that gets you motivated, that gets you out of the bed, that gets the fire going. What are some things that you guys are passionate about? Because lately, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been kind of questioning my passion. I've been questioning what am I passionate about? Because I have a lot of things that I do in life that I don't know if necessarily I'm passionate about it. I think that I get more enjoyment out of completion. I get more enjoyment out of coming up with new concepts, new ideas, and just basically doing things differently. Like, and that's how I've always been. I've always been the type of person that I like to switch it up. I don't like to be, to the point where I'm very stagnant and it's like the same thing every day. And so with me, you always see me coming up with like new ideas, new concepts because like I'm fascinated by that. So whenever I start something, I'm always like, okay, well, how can I make this better? How can I improve this? What can I add to it? And sometimes that kind of makes me wonder, am I even passionate about anything or do I have like this hunger to always create new content? That was something that I was thinking about, but yeah, so I just kind of want to know like what are some things that you guys are passionate about? Drop that down in the comments box or hit me up and let me know. I'm really interested in figuring out what you guys like because I mean I got a couple of different things that I like to do. As most of you all know, I make music. You can find my music online. Just type in Tyz28 on Google, and you'll pretty much find everything about me. But I like making music. I just got into making videos and stuff like that. For the longest time, I actually stayed away from making videos. Like I never liked being on camera. Like camera was just one of those things that I tried to stay away from. It was something that I kind of felt like didn't fit with my personality because I'm a very introverted type of person. I like to stay in the house and keep to myself. And being on camera is very. I feel like it exposes a lot about you and a lot about your personality. And I really didn't feel at that point in time that I was comfortable doing that and I kind of allowed it to grow on me. I started making these vlogs and doing all these videos because it was a way that I could kind of like capture my moment and be able to see my story years down the line. And that was one of the biggest things about doing the videos was that the videos was going to be something that I could play back later on whenever I have kids or if I have kids I could play it back to my kids and they could see like how their dad was, some of the things that I did and some of the things that I enjoyed in my personality and everything like that, so they can kind of see where they get it from. But I mean, that's originally how it all started as a way to just kind of capture my life. And I've spoke about that before. I've talked to a couple people and let them know, like, because they always wonder, like, why did you get into videos? And that's actually the reason why I got into videos. It's just to be able to capture the moments in my life and be able to play them back later on in life. And that was the real big reason why I got into it. And my nose is kind of stopped up right now. That's why I sound like this. But that was the reason why I got into it, and I really enjoyed it after trying it out. And yeah, like me and my girl, we actually do a lot of vlogs and stuff like that. We actually started out with the fitness vlog. I kinda like fell off with that in a sense where I don't do fitness vlogs as much. I still work out, but I don't like my main focus isn't on the fitness vlogs. Like right now, I really just like the lifestyle vlogs. Like I like just going outside and going to the mall with my girl or going out and doing stuff. I like those vlogs better. So you guys see a lot of those. And another thing you guys see a lot of is you see a lot of like you see a lot of vlogs where it's just like me and my girl pretty much like out just like walking around and stuff like that. Whether we go to the park or do something fitness wise and everything like that, like I just feel like that's something that when other people see it, you never know. You never know in life the impact that you can make on a person by some of the things that you do. And that's one of the things that I notice is it's like whenever I would find myself doing something, I noticed that other people around me, like you would see that type of content popping up on their page. And it was like it made me think in my head, like, wow, did I was I the motivation that could have contributed to helping this person want to do that? And I think about that type of stuff and I'm like, man, like that makes me feel good about myself. Cause I've even noticed it like around here. Like when me and my girl we go outside and we go for a run, like right after that, I'd say maybe 5 to 6 minutes after that, you see somebody else come outside and they go for a run. I think that a lot of the things that we do in life, we inspire other people to do the same thing. As well as like you could be the most average Joe type of person and you do something that kind of stands out, you can motivate other people to want to do that. And I look at that as like say like these kids around here. These kids they see the way that we wear our hair, right? And what they do is that they go out and if they like it, then they wear their hair the same way. I think that a lot of the things that we do as older adults because I'm actually 28. I'm actually going to be turning 29 soon. So I'm getting close to that 30-year mark. I noticed that a lot of the things that I do can impact a lot of the young crowd out here. You know what I mean? It can be an influence to the younger peers out here. And so I'm very mindful of some of the content that I'm putting out and some of the things that I do because like even notice like when you listen to my music, I don't say the N word in there. You know what I mean? I don't say the N word in none of my music. I used to back when I first started recording, but I cut that out because I realized like I live in a predominantly white area, right? I noticed that some of the things that I'm saying, and if I'm saying it, they're gonna repeat it. And I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I don't want anybody to feel like I need to use that word in order to get a point across because I don't. I got so many other words that I could substitute with that. Now, do I not say that word? No. I say it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like and that's because that's just what I'm comfortable with within my culture and the people that I'm around with. I'm comfortable talking to them and saying that. So I don't change up anything or I don't do anything different because of that. I just mainly focus on my music being to the point where I watch what it is that I talk about. I kind of filter myself in a sense where it's like I don't want to cause any type of controversy because people are saying things that could possibly get them hurt or get them in trouble and everything like that. And if you ask me, what's my whole opinion on that? What's my whole opinion on white people being able to say the N word? I think that it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to be to the point where you say stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it does suck that that only applies to certain people. It does suck. But I think that right now, like in America, there's such a big stain on, white people when it comes to racial tension and just discrimination in general, and it sucks. It sucks because it seems as though, like, think about it. You could be white and just being born into this world, you already have that stain on you, as to the point where you have to prove that you're not a person who sits here and discriminates against other people based off of color or religion or whatever the case may be. You automatically have that stain on you upon entering this world, and it's not anything that you've done, but it has something to do with your ancestors and the history behind what they've done. And it really sucks because I mean that same thing could apply to me. I'm a black man in America, and the first thing that people look at is, okay, he could be dangerous, he could be angry, he could be a violent type of person, and I'm not that type of person. Now, don't get me wrong, I get mad when I play video games and I lose and stuff like that, but I'm not out here trying to hurt anybody or do any harm to society and everything like that. Like that's just not what I'm on. I'm a very competitive person, so when I lose, it motivates me and makes me to the point where I'm like, I want to do whatever it takes to win. I want to get better, you know, and that's just the type of person that I am. But I definitely think that in America right now we have a really, really big stain on people in a group, as a whole because of things that certain people have done. And actually, I'm going to tap into that right now. I actually wrote something on Facebook where I was talking about how there was a video that was posted of this cop, And the cop actually looked like he was Mexican or he could have been white. I don't know, like the lighting was off, but you could see the cop and he was pointing a gun at a black guy, and the black guy actually he had his hand he had both of his hands out the window, and in the one hand he had his phone recording the cop, and he let the cop know. He's like, "Hey, I'm recording you, by the way, so whatever you do is going to be on camera." And the cop said to him, he's like, "I'm letting you know that I have a body cam on and I'm recording you too." And so he's like, "I told you to get out of here," because they was trying to it looked like they was trying to take care of a situation that was going on at the gas station. And what had happened was he was a bystander that just kind of like rolled past, and he was being nosy, or he was trying to figure out what was going on. So he drove past and he pulled out his phone. In the process of pulling out his phone, the cop noticed that, and he's like, "Hey man, you got to get up out of here. We're trying to take care of a situation." And the guy just continued to record. And so the cop was like, "At this point in time, you're disrespecting me. So I'm going to have to ask you to leave." So I guess the situation kind of escalated. They started arguing with each other back and forwards. And the cop ended up pulling out a gun. And he's like, "You need to get out of here right now." And so the guy was like, "Oh, so you're going to pull out a gun and you're going to shoot me?" And he's like, "Well, here's my thing." He's like, "Why are you going to shoot me all because I'm sitting here, sir? I'm not doing anything wrong." And the cop who had the gun was like, "Hey, you got to get up out of here right now." And so like the whole situation just kind of went to a point where it didn't need to go. Like, I don't believe that any guns should have been drawn. I don't believe that the guy should have been there being like super nosy about stuff. Like, I can understand. Like, my whole thing is this: if somebody's being violated by the cops, right? And you see something, or it could be vice versa. Like, somebody's violating the cop. If you see something and you pull out your camera and you record it, like, that helps the whole situation that's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's a good thing, because at the end of the day, sometimes some people, the only thing that they have is video. Like, their word alone isn't good enough. Like, you have to have some type of, visual, evidence to be able to prove what went down, because it's just your word versus that person's word. So, I mean, I think that it was a great thing that he was recording it. But I think that, in a sense where when somebody tells you to get up out of there, you know what I mean, and you feel like you're just there recording something just to be recording it. I mean, I don't know. Like, had it been me, I would have mind my own business as long as nobody was being violated. Like, if it was like a arrest type of situation, I would have mind my own business and kept moving. But the situation escalated to a place where it didn't need to be. And so basically the gun was drawn by the cop, and the guy had his hands out the window and everything like that. And out of nowhere, if you listen to the video, you could hear it clear as day. The cop yells out, "He got a gun." And the moment that he said he got a gun, the cop had two officers that was actually dealing with the other situation. The moment that he yelled, "He got a gun," the two officers' heads turned and looked at the guy. Now, in that situation, I'm thinking, what if they would have responded to that a lot quicker than what they did, or differently than what they did, and they would have pulled out their gun and shot that guy? Then you would have a guy who had his hand out the window. You would have had a guy who had his hand out the window, a guy who had a phone in his hand, both hands out the window, who didn't have a gun, who got shot, all for nothing. And it didn't need to go to that point. And for the cop to say that, I just think that that was very immature, and that was just like, reckless at that point. And so, I mean, I didn't rock with the video. So, like, I put it up and I posted it on my Facebook, and I don't know if anybody noticed it, but these are things that go on in America, and it kind of sucks because you think about it like this, right? That one cop, him doing that made it to the point where people are going to look at cops as a whole, because that's what we do. We identify people as a whole, as a group, because there's too many of us out here in America to identify every person as a single individual. So what happens is that we try to classify people. We put people in groups because it's easier to go looking for somebody if they're in a group. So say something happens, right? We got a KKK situation. A KKK, one of the members within the KKK group goes out and they kill somebody. It doesn't have to be a black person. They just kill somebody, right? Now we got a situation where instead of looking for the guy who committed the crime, right, we look for the group as a whole, and we try to take the whole group down. Now that's what it kind of seems like in America. The way that we function is that we don't go looking for people, we go looking for the group as a whole. And so a lot of times when I talk to people, I let them know, like, if you're going to be a part of these groups or these cults or whatever the case may be, you got to be in supportive of everything that goes on within that group, because if something goes left, they're not going to come looking for the person who committed the crime. They're going to come looking for the group that's associated with the crime. And if you're in that group, you're going to be a part of that. And so it's like you got to be mindful of what it is that you subscribe to or what it is that you follow or want to be a part of, because a lot of this stuff could be detrimental to like what it is that you have going on, in case this person goes out here and does something reckless, and then all of a sudden now it's tied to you, and all you was doing was chilling with your family that night. And now you're caught up in a situation that doesn't even have anything to do with you. So basically where I'm getting at with this whole conversation is that we look at things, and I gave an example within the video. I said, this one cop does something messed up, and then all of a sudden now all cops are considered bad people, and they go out here and shoot people and do all this violence and all this other stuff, right? You got one white person that sit here and say some racial stuff and discriminates against somebody, and then all of a sudden all white people are considered like racist, and it got a stain on that group as a whole. Then you got people in the inner city say like there's a group of black people, they go out and they commit crimes and they're violent, and then they steal cars or something like that. So now you got a stain on black people as a whole, that we have a reputation of being violent and we steal. And so now it doesn't just affect that person. One person's actions could affect a group as a whole, and it's bullshit to me, at least, because the way that I see it is this person's actions should not affect who it is that I am. And I always say that this person's actions does not, it does not represent who I am as a person and how I function out here in this world. If this person's going out there, he may look like me, right? But he don't act like me. He may go out here and he might shoot somebody tomorrow, or he might beat the hell out of somebody. What he did does not have anything to do with who I am as a person, because I'm not out here functioning that way. I'm not out here operating like that. So why should I be, brought into this conversation or looked at as I'm that type of person because somebody who looked like me did something that was out of line and out of pocket? And that's what I always say to people. At the end of the day, that person isn't a representation of who you are. That person is only repping themselves, and they're only doing what they want to do. So at the end of the day, that everything that comes with that should be tied to that person and not to a group as a whole. But that's just my whole take on that. And that's why I say at the end of the day, it's just so many of us out here in this world that it kind of seems like anytime a crime is committed, it's basically, it puts a stain on a group instead of on that individual. And so it's like a lot of times you just got to be mindful of what it is and how you operate now here in this world, because it doesn't only affect you. And that's what they mean when they say that. You go out here and you do something wrong, it doesn't only affect you, it affects everybody. And that's why I want you guys to, like, when you go out here in this world, try to operate under a system where you understand that you be mindful that if you out here doing reckless stuff, you not representing just yourself. You know what I'm saying? You representing everybody as a whole, and it kind of sucks that it's that way, but that's what gets me to the point where I watch what it is that I do. I try to set the standard and do things that I respect, at the end of the day, because then I know that I'm living my life the way that I want to live my life. I'm living my life to the point where I'm setting a good example for the next generation, and hopefully they'll take that and they'll set an even better example for the next generation following after them. You know what I mean? It's pretty much all like it's all like a continuous circle. You know what I'm saying? And we all a part of that circle, and that's why I say it's very important in how you operate now here in these streets. And just being mindful of what it is that you're doing and everything like that. There was another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about. There was like when it comes to religion and everything like that. I was actually seeing this one girl back in the day, and it was kind of crazy because I'm not a very religious type of person, but I do believe that there is a such thing as a God, and I do believe that there's a such thing as a devil. And the craziest thing about that is, it's like I never push my religion, like any type of religious thoughts off on anybody else, like my opinions or anything like that. Whatever you believe is whatever you believe. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you wrong for whatever you think, and that I'm right. So basically, the craziest thing about it was while I was seeing this girl, her family was very religious, and they went to they used to go to like a Methodist church and everything like that. Now I don't know what's the difference. I don't know the difference between any of these churches. The only thing I know that's different about certain churches that you go to is the energy in the church. And so when I would go to certain churches, I knew that the energy that they had was definitely different because I could tell you right now, I came from a Baptist church. So when I went to my Baptist church, the craziest thing about it was you would see people up in there yelling, screaming, catching the Holy Ghost. They would have their little fans out and stuff, fanning themselves and stuff like that. And the church that I went to was actually predominantly black. And so it was a lot of energy within that church. And you wasn't allowed to do certain things. Like I know when I went to that church, I actually like I used to bring my Game Boy because I was little at that point in time. And I would actually bring my Game Boy Color and I would sit there and I would try to play it with the volume all the way down. And I remember like a couple of times being disciplined by, people's parents, other parents that wasn't mine. Like a woman would like, take my Game Boy and put it in her pocket and say, "You're not getting this back until the end. You're gonna get this blessing." And I'm like, "Who is this woman?" You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna take my Game Boy? You ain't even my mom. Like, what's going on? Like they're very, very strict about when you come to church, you come in there to get a blessing. And it's kind of funny because I went to the Methodist church and it was completely different. Like it was more so like you seen people in there, and there was a lot of people that was really, really committed to coming there and getting a blessing for that day, and having a positive vibe throughout the week. And there was some people that would come there on Sundays just to get sleep, and they would say there was a day of rest, and that was okay. And I was like, I never could imagine just coming to church just to fall asleep because like when I was younger, like you had to wake up, you had to stay awake to get that blessing or to intake the information that was coming through that day. You know what I'm saying? And like people was really serious about that type of stuff. So when I seen a guy sleeping in the church, I was just like, wow, like I couldn't imagine like doing that back in the day. That wouldn't have flew. You know what I'm saying? Like that wouldn't have fly with anybody. But everything's different, and it was kind of crazy because as I was talking to her parents about it, they asked me, they said, "So, what do you think is the thing that's going to get you into heaven?" And I said, I think your actions. I think when you're out here putting positive out in the world and you're a positive person and you're doing nice things, that's what's going to get you into heaven. Treating people with respect, treating people the way that you want to be treated, right? And just basically doing kind gestures. I think that that's what's going to get you into heaven. And I remember her father actually saying to me, he's like, "Oh, so you have Christian views." And I was like, I guess if that's what Christian views is, I guess I have Christian views. And I never knew what Christian views were. I never knew what any of this stuff was. I just always considered that if you're an asshole, you're not going to go to heaven. If you're out here, treating people with disrespect and you're out here just like, not giving a shit about anybody's feelings, then I always felt like at that point in time, like you're going to be the type of person that's going to end up going to hell. But that was just my opinion. And so he told me, he was like, "Yeah, you got Christian views. How about you come to our church and everything like that, and we'll have you be a part of that, and you can let me know what you think after that." And I was like, "Okay." And I actually went to the church with them for a while, and I really enjoyed it, and it was fun. And the difference that I noticed in this church was the main focus didn't really seem like it was on like the message of what it was they was talking about. It kind of seemed like they really enjoyed music and just being there all in one place at the same time. Like that's what it kind of seemed like. It kind of seemed like it was more of a family thing. Like they just felt like they was a part of something great, and they would listen to music and they would have a good old time. And occasionally the pastor would get up there and he would speak and everything. And I was just like, wow, it was kind of crazy to me because that was the first time that I went to a church while I was up here. Because when I was back in the city, I went to a church when I was younger, but my parents basically they never forced any of that stuff onto us after we got to a certain age. Now, when I was younger, my grandma would make sure that my parents went, and that was the reason why I believe that we went all together was because she wanted my dad to go and my mom to go, and of course they had to bring us. But as we got a little older, they stopped, just being to the point where they were like, "Hey, you guys got to go." They actually stopped going themselves, so we just was like happy at that point because we had other things that we could do that day. And so we never really thought too much of it. But it's crazy. So I just kind of want to know, like, what are you guys' views on, what it takes to get into heaven and everything like that, if you feel comfortable talking about it. And what are some of the churches that you go to? Do you go to a Methodist church? Do you go to a Baptist church? Do you go to a Christian church? I'm pretty sure there's more types of churches out there that you can go to. So just kind of let me know what you guys go to and explain that to me, and tell me like the type of energy that you guys have there, because I'm very interested in knowing, because like I said, I grew up going to a Baptist church, and I actually got baptized when I was younger, and to me, in a way, it kind of looked fun. It kind of looked fun. I was like, man, it looks like one big swimming pool. But once they dip you under that thing backwards, I was like, isn't water gonna get in your nose? Like, I kind of found that to be kind of weird. I was like, I don't know about being dipped backwards. He could probably like drop me in there forwards like a face plant or something. You know what I mean? But like backwards, I felt like the water would get in my nose. I don't know. It's like there's some type of ritual behind that, a reason why they do it. But yeah, I remember getting baptized when I was younger, and I stood in a line with a bunch of kids, and like we didn't have our shoes on, but we kept our boxes on, and I think like we just walked out, and I kind of felt naked in front of the church. Like, it was just so weird, but it was like it felt like you were gonna get in the swimming pool. And I remember standing in the line, and we walked to the front, and as we walked to the front, I remember the kid in front of me, like, he was real nervous, and I was nervous, and he jumped in, and I remember they baptized, and they dipped him in the water. He came back up, had snot coming out of his nose and everything like that. But occasionally things like that, it happens, because like as a kid, you're young and you freaked out by this whole thing. But it's just like, oh, if you see it as it's a swimming pool, it takes some of the fear away from it. And yeah, so I ended up getting baptized, and I remember, like, as I went under that water and as I came up, like, I definitely felt something. I felt something was different, and I didn't know if it was gonna make my life a little bit better, a little bit more positive. Because as a kid, I felt like my life was really, really positive already to begin with. So I never really thought too much into it, but it was definitely a unique experience to have, because I know a lot of people that I've spoke to that are not baptized and they haven't been. And so me just being able to share that story with them was something different that I felt like a lot of them appreciated. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. I hope you guys really like the content that I've been bringing you and everything like that. And I'm going to go ahead and continue to bring you guys content and keep you posted and everything like that. I haven't really got like a set date, like when I'm going to do these podcast episodes and everything like that. I'm going to try and aim for maybe like once a week. I was thinking about, like, recording everything on like maybe like a Friday or something like that, like a Friday morning or Saturday morning. I would say a Saturday morning most likely. And getting you guys like a podcast episode every week. I think that would be something good. So yeah, if you guys like the content and everything like that, please leave a comment down below if you want to. You don't have to. I mean, like with my content, you don't have to like it. You don't have to comment. You don't have to do anything like that. But if you hear any type of subjects that we're talking about and you feel like it's something that is something that you want to chime in on, feel free to comment. Leave a comment down below. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.